Welcome back, farmers. This is episode 4 of growing rare peppers when it is freezing cold outside. We just got our first snow of the season, and there's no better time to work in the grow tent than right now. I'll throw up a video of what the grow tent was looking like in the last episode. Here is a 84-day update on the grow tent. But even if you didn't have that reference, you can tell that these plants are just doing fantastic. I've constantly been trimming these things back. The pepper plant in the back. The cabbage is also coming along very nicely. My strategy to trim these things every week or two has really been effective, and as you can tell, we have these short, bushy pepper plants, and this is exactly what I've wanted since the very beginning. Also, the chocolate habanero plant in the cracky setup in a 5-gallon bucket is also doing very well. This is exactly how I pictured the plant when I started growing it from the beginning. So let's start off with all of the peppers in the budget AeroGarden. If you guys want to see how I built this budget AeroGarden, go check out my TikTok. I have a really cool video on how I built this, and if you were to buy even the lights and all the other materials, you could build 3 of these things for the same price as one AeroGarden. So let's start off with the chocolate Starscream. This one's probably my favorite that's growing in the system because every time I prune it back, it comes back about 3 times stronger than what it originally was before I pruned it. If you look down here at the lower base of the plant, there are so many shoots and different parts of the plant growing that it just appears so bushy. This is exactly how you want to grow a plant when you have limited space. I haven't trimmed it this week because I wanted to show everybody what it looked like. I will be showing what it looks like after I trim it later in the video. This plant right here is a KS variety. It's an annuum, and it produces these cool little chocolate colored peppers. So I'm really excited to see what those look like. And if I really like them, I have plenty of opportunities to clone this plant and get some more of them going before spring rolls around. Now moving over to the Ahi lemon. A little bit of the Starscream's running over to this one, and they will need trimmed. I'm going to be trimming this one as well. But this is an Ahi variety, and the base of this one is just as strong, and it's putting out a bunch of shoots as well. So like this piece right here, easily clonable. I really love growing plants this way, and just like the Starscream, this one right here is short and stocky, and it is exactly what we want when we're growing in a grow tent. The Peach Fantasy over here, also an Ahi variety, and it's not as bushy as the other one, but it's short and compact, and it's growing well just like the others. And then we have our 3 Chinen's varieties. We have a Kung Star Lemon Starburst, we have a Chocolate Bonnet, and then we have Pumpkin Habaneros right here. So these 3 are the same species as this one, but as you can tell, when they're given a bigger reservoir like a 5-gallon bucket, they will grow bigger. But when they're given a smaller reservoir, they tend to stay a little bit smaller, and especially when you're trimming them. So these plants are all doing very well, and for the variety and species that they are, keeping them trimmed back is the best option. So I'm able to grow 6 plants in one container that's 15 gallon. So this is a big success for me because a lot of people would consider pepper plants too big to grow in a small area like this. This just proves if you have the time and patience, trimming them is the best option. Now moving over to the chocolate habanero. It's a little bit different than the chocolate bonnet. This is a habanero, chocolate colored. Hopefully it tastes like chocolate, but I doubt it will. The foliage on the top is incredible. It's forked out in multiple different places to make it compact. And if you have the time, just like the other ones, trimming, very effective. So let's do a little bit of a root update on this thing as well. Here's a little picture of the roots, and there's no air pump in here. This is all cracky, and for not being really taken care of too frequently, I check on these plants about once a week. I would say that this root system is optimal and doing very well. The roots are very healthy, and if they continue to stay this way, I think this plant will be very successful. Enough with the pepper plants. We're going to be moving over to the cabbage, and this is my first time growing cabbage, and it's my first time growing it hydroponically as well. I would say that these are doing very well. I planted these just a few weeks ago. In the other updates, it was just pepper plants, but I included these 2 cabbage plants. This one's doing a little bit better than this one over here, but overall they're doing great. These are a flat Dutch variety, and the heads can get up to 10 to 15 pounds. They're doing really well, and I can't wait for the heads to form because I will be making sauerkraut with whatever I grow in here. Last but not least, we have the big reservoir here, and I have been talking about needing to remove the dead plants that were in here and starting something new, which I finally have done. And we even have a little seedling in here. I don't remember what pepper plant I'm growing in here. I'll have to go back and look, but this one is doing pretty well. Once that thing sprouts, we're going to add more rocks to cover up the rock wool, and hopefully we will have a big, strong, healthy plant in this reservoir as well. So here is how I go about trimming my pepper plants, and it's a lot easier than you think. Make sure that all of the places you're trimming are at nodes, so where 2 leaves come out, you can trim your plant right there. I also try to trim off anything that is reaching out really far in its growing radius, and I also try and keep them short and compact. So if it's growing too tall, I'll trim it, and if it is growing too wide, I will also trim it. When you're pruning them, this is a perfect opportunity to take cuttings if you would like to clone the plant that you're growing already. So here's what they look like after they've been trimmed. I decided not to trim any of these 4 because they really weren't encroaching on any of the others' growing space, but I did cut these back a little bit, and they're looking a lot better. So here's a little update video of what the grow tent looks like after episode 4. I'll continue to update everybody, but these plants are all doing fantastic. I've refilled the reservoir on this one, and at some point I will have to add bloom nutrients to the chocolate habanero. As far as these 2, I'm going to wait until they run out of nutrients because these will not need bloom nutrients because they're greens. So I'm going to keep the Dyna Grow nutrients for these 2. Thanks for watching, and if you have any plants that are growing in a grow tent, I would love to see pictures. Send them to my Instagram. And if you have any recommendations on what else I should grow in here, we have a little bit of empty space in here. I'm sure I could fit another 5-gallon bucket or 2. Drop the comments below on what you want to see me grow. Thanks for watching. I hope that your plants are growing just as well as mine.